In the last video I uploaded, where I showed you the video of the calculations and the palmings that kind of is suggesting something different from what we have been told that happened to Davido's son, late Ifeanyi Adeleke. Now, towards the end of that video, I brought some pictures of about 5 persons, including that of Ifeanyi, people who were closely related to Davido, that at least since 2017, between 2017 and now, about 5 of them died. And when something like this happens, it is always easy for us humans to begin to look in one direction and begin to suspect somebody. And somehow, sometimes you don't actually blame people. Now, the truth is that 5 close associates of a person cannot just die like that within the space of 5 years. And it's strange enough, about 3 of them died within the same month of October. The other one died September, and one died around either June or July. I'm going to bring them out here. Now, there is no smoke without fire. You see, the smoke or the fire may not actually be ignited by the person everybody may be looking at. But there was something that one of the prophets, Prophet Elijah Bamidele, they call themselves prophets. So that is Prophet Elijah Bamidele, the one who said God told him that it wasn't actually Ifeanyi that would have died, that it would have been Shoma that would have died. And that Davido was actually lucky because God decided to make it Ifeanyi, because if Shoma had been the one who died, everybody would have risen against Davido and accused Davido of having used Shoma for rituals, that she was sacrificed. And from that inference, I was able to kind of bring in the other videos that actually meant that even that did not make what he said would have happened to go away, because it is already out there. There is always suspicion. There is already a suspicion out there that Davido knew or knows what happened to his son.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription, and God bless you. Shalom.
Now, in the course of my session, I stumbled on this list of the deaths around him that I mentioned, and I'm just going to take it the way it is here, the way it is written, the way it is reported, starting from Ifeanyi. Now, this is coming from Daily Trust, and if you like, you can read it up, but I just want you to look at it. They wrote, the African megastar singer, who has gained a lot of international recognition, is also a celebrated philanthropist who millions of fans are currently mourning with over the loss of a 3-year-old child, Ifeanyi Adeleke, after drowning in the family's swimming pool in Lagos on Monday. Now, before the sad development, the singer had lost some other close friends and associates. So we're going to look at those friends. We're going to see how they died, what killed them. Now, starting from Ifeanyi Adeleke, which we have reported already. Ifeanyi Adeleke is one of Davido's kids and his only son, who had an untimely death. It was revealed on October 31 that the 3-year-old boy, who had recently celebrated his 3rd birthday on October 20, died after drowning in their family swimming pool in his father's Banana Island house in Lagos. It was gathered that the singer and his fiancée, Shoma, the mother of the deceased, had traveled to Ibadan, leaving the child with their domestic staff, who had no idea of how he entered the pool and drowned. The child was rushed to a hospital in Lekki, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. It is quite mysterious that in that house that day, it was reported that at least not less than 8 persons were in the house, adults, plus the paid nanny, and none of them knew how the boy mysteriously left the house and went into the swimming pool and got himself drowned and unfortunately lost his life. Now, the second on the list is Tabo. Tabo Umeike, popularly known as Tabo, was one of Davido's closest friends who died 5 years ago on his birthday on October 3. 2017. Mark the date, October again. Details surrounding his death revealed that Tabo had a night of heavy drinking and allegedly consumed 40 shots of tequila. Actress Caroline Danjuma, who was Tabo's girlfriend, publicized his death and called out Davido and his friends for being responsible for Tabo's death. The Police State Criminal Investigation Department later revealed that Tabo had been rushed to the hospital unconscious as a result of heavy drinking by Davido's order. On arrival at the hospital, a doctor confirmed Tabo's death. Now, the third on the list now is DJ Olu. Olugbenga Abiodun, popularly known as DJ Olu, was another of Davido's close associates who had an untimely death on October 7, 2017. October again. The disc jockey and his associate Shime Amechi, who were both Davido's crew members, were found dead in a BMW car in a garage at Banana Island, Lagos. Now, this happened to be 2 in 1 death. Reports by the Ikoyi Police Division. They were found dead in the car, bleeding from their noses and mouths, adding that substances suspected to be drugs from the victims were recovered from their bodies. Olugbenga Abiodun was also one of the sons of the former Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun. Now we move to Obama DMW. Habib Uthman, aka Obama DMW, was Davido's business associate who was reported dead on June 23, 2021 at a hospital in Lekki. It was revealed that he had complained of breathing difficulty and had been driven to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Now, last but not the least, Fortunate Ateomuname Peter, popularly known as Fortune, was Davido's official photographer who died on September 21, 2021 at the age of 24. It was revealed that Fortune had drowned in a swimming pool during a photo shoot location in Lagos. So when you look at these deaths, the similarities are quite striking. 2 died, about 3 died the same month, 2017 October. You know, the first one, Tabo, died October. Just a recap. The first one, Tabo, died October 3, 2017. Then DJ Olu died October 7, 2017. Now, together with his friend. All right. Now, Obama died June 23, 2021, and Fortune died September 21, 2021. So you have about three persons dying the same year, the same month, and these last 2 died the same year, though different months. And now we have his son dying in October. I hope that there will be no more death this year around Davido, because you know, following or judging by antecedents. Now I just have some kind of you know, question running in my heart. Listen, you will not blame me or blame anybody who is asking question. The world we are living in today is a world of wickedness, and the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil, and this has made the even servants of God, men of God, to pierce themselves through with many sorrows. And so the counsel is that, you know, godliness with contentment is of great gain. Listen, I'm not trying to insinuate anything. I'm not trying to implicate, you know, Davido on anything. But the truth is that sometimes we look around us and we see some of these people who are, you know, highly placed there. You see, you wouldn't know what they do. You wouldn't know how they get there. All right. Okay, you wouldn't know how they get there. Now, somebody may ask me, is it not possible that somebody might actually be unfortunate to lose even family members up to 5 within 5 years? It has happened. In fact, I know of a family that the full family finished in 1 day. The man, his wife, and about 5 children, his mother-in-law, and 1 other lady that was in the house. The whole family finished 1 day. Now, that kind of death don't just happen. It doesn't just happen. Something must have triggered it up in the spirit. For those of you that will want to look at it as African superstition and what have you, well, we are living a life. I want you to understand that life is spiritual. The spiritual controls the physical. Now, we have also seen some families where, death happens. I mean, consistently, people die. There are still some families that, at least every 2 years or so, people, somebody will die. Every 3 years or so, somebody will die. Now you begin to look at it. What have they done? We know people die every day, but when it becomes too rampant within and around a person, now it is caused by something. It might not be the person that is responsible. It might be the foundation that the person has laid or that was laid for the person. And in some cases, it might also be the person. In some cases, it might be some external forces, external enemies that wants to bring the person or the family down and cause confusion in the lives of a person. So the thing is this, I'm talking to Christians now. Listen, your head will not be used to service any altar. Your blood will not become a drink for any deity. Now, anyone that is seeking for blood, it will not be your blood. It will not be your head. It will not be the blood of any member of your family. It won't be the head of any member of your family. I pray for you that even where you are working or where you are living, and the person that you are working for, you don't know his source of whatever, but you're just there innocently working. Now, if it is a bad foundation, the day that that person will need blood, you will not be available. Himself will be available to service his own altar. For those of you that we want to you are now doing back to sender, my friend, hey, don't worry. All right, you will understand it by and by. There are persons. Would you actually rather be sacrificed? Would you? Let me not use the word sacrifice, but at least that is what it is. You see, that is what it is. There are videos I've uploaded here that have come to agree, even though that some persons say is a lie. I don't actually need those videos to know what is happening. I was born in Africa, born in Nigeria. I was raised in Nigeria, and I'm still living in Nigeria. I've not lived in any other country. Yeah, so having been born and bred, and I'm still living here, we know a lot of wickedness that is happening. We've seen so many things revealed, exposed. In those days, in the 80s was when these things, became rampant, and when people began to see the repercussion and the consequences of this wickedness, it died down. But suddenly, the youth of this generation have returned. They've gone back to this wickedness, human sacrifice. It was rife when we were, while we were growing up. Kidnapping as of that time was not for ransom. It was for ritual purposes. People will use human being and do whatever they would do with that person, and will keep the person in a secret room, and just however they want it. Some, they will just, once they call the person's name, the person will be vomiting money for them. There are different ways that they did it in those days. But while they were dying, because there is actually consequence for every action of human, and everybody should be responsible for their actions. And so that is why I said, if anybody is intending or intent on making you a sacrifice, now that person would go even for your sake, in the name of Jesus Christ. So that is what I am trying to say here. Kidnap in those days was popular. I remember, one of the days, my uncle, and my dad just died within that time. And that's why I'm not saying that this thing that is happening around that Davido here now, that is strange. Even in my own family, it happened. My cousin died, my uncle died, and my father died within the same time, period. But then it didn't just happen. That's why that was what I was telling you, that life is spiritual. Something must have made something to happen. You get it? Something must have made something to happen. And eventually, those that, whatever they did to find out what happened, they did it, and they found out the reason. And the reason was, traced back to evil foundation that was laid by, mistakes and errors and the ignorance of the people at the time. You get it? Now, so what I'm trying to say here is that evil, happens. I was telling you a story. Was one of the best cars around then, Peugeot 504. And so I was coming with some of my cousins. We are a group of children, coming out from the other family that happens also to be one of my cousins. And so we saw a white 504 Peugeot that just ran, past us and moved like one pole and stopped. And he started calling my cousin then, he is late now, and said, come, your father is in that car, he's calling you. My uncle has died and my own father has died, and so there was no way his father could be in the car. I wasn't so knowledgeable that time, but I could decipher that those were kidnappers. I just shouted, they are kidnappers. Immediately I shouted, they are kidnappers. The man ran into the car and they zoomed off, and every one of us we ran away. Now that guy was going to collect that bread until I shouted that. Immediately I shouted it, he came back to his senses, and we ran away, and the men zoomed off. Now those were the kind of things that were happening in those days. Now at a point in time it died down. At a point in time people began to be wary of it. I have a friend, or I had a friend, whom while we were growing up also was very, very intent of making money. He was so sure that he was going to be rich, and he even said it that at such and such time, if he failed to be rich, he would do something to be rich. And when he started his own business, he actually surprised so many. So rich, he lived so fast, but then unfortunately his death was very quick. He died like that. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Let me know what you think of the video. Put your comments in the comment section. Till I come your way again in the next video, I remain your brother in the Lord, and from me to you. Shalom.